considering a trade for Deshaun Watson. However, ESPN Dolphins reporter Marcel Louis-Jacques tweeted, NFL landscape is fluid, but in regards to trades involving the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa and Deshaun Watson, a source close to the situation texted me, quote, rumors are false, end quote. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Here's Adam Schefter on the likelihood of a Texans Dolphins Deshaun Watson trade.
We are closer to the trade deadline, 13 days away. And so if there were a deal that were going to happen, it would have to come this or next week. And these two sides have had discussions. And at various points, various people have thought a deal is going to happen, only to not have it happen. And again, you're going to have three different parties sign off on this deal because Deshaun Watson has no trade. So he'd have to be good with going to Miami, which I think he would be. The Dolphins would have to be good with what they'd be giving up. And the Texans, of course, would have to be good with the compensation they'd be getting back. Look, a Dolphins-Texans deal has been in play all along. John McClain has said it could happen this week, and that's certainly possible. We'll see the timing on this right now, but this is something that's also been out there for quite some time.
Tua's not stupid. You know, when reports come back and say, hey, these rumors are false, everybody knows, including the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, that they're trying to make some kind of deal for Deshaun Watson. I just wanted to state that. Everybody makes it seem like, oh, well, these rumors are false because we want to save face with Tua just in case. We don't want him to think that this looming ability of a trade is on the table. Everybody knows this has been on the table for the entirety of this offseason.
Yeah, in what I would say to rumors, trades, whatever the case may be, Marcel may have his own sources within the Miami Dolphins organization that he believes and trusts in. So he would say, as a reporter in that particular area with that team, is that the individuals that he speaks to say the rumors are false. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins, with Tua having to have to play this weekend, the distractions he don't need. So to quiet those down, I get it, I understand it. But when you talk about John McClain, who's been in Houston for as long as I can remember, covering the Houston Texans, he has his sources in Houston as well. So, you're going to always get whatever from the organizations in this situation. And then you got Adam Schefter right there talking about these conversations have certainly taken place. When that was, we don't know. There was no date put to it. But whether or not Deshaun Watson actually gets traded by the trade deadline to the Miami Dolphins, there is a lot of boxes that have to be checked prior to that, which means that Stephen Ross, who is the Miami Dolphins CEO and owner of the team, has to check that box off to start with, Jay and Max.
Now, first, when you say, let's back up just a little bit. Because of the allegations of, was it up to 22 different women that he met on Instagram as massage therapists, 22, I believe it was up to, made allegations about unwanted advances from Deshaun Watson. As a result of that, as an outstanding legal and obviously ethical and moral issue, right? There could be feelings about, first of all, it's unresolved, so you don't know if and when he's going to play. And secondly, people may have an issue with him coming to town. So when you say check boxes, Key, you mean the owner. Obviously, every owner has to check a box, but who else has to?
Well, not every owner doesn't have to check a box.
Okay.
Sometimes the authority goes to the president or the general manager of the team because the owner is off hands in professional sports.
But not in this case.
In this case, because of the severity of what we are dealing with, the owner has to check the box. The owner is married. She has to check the box, the wife. They probably have kids. I don't know if they have kids, but let's assume he does. His kids are probably going to have to check the box because they don't want to hear from their friends, why would your dad do this? Then you go down to the president of the team, the general manager of the team, his family. All of these boxes need to be checked before you even get to the head coach to check the box that he wants to bring this particular distraction into the locker room. Now, look, do I anticipate Deshaun, if he is traded, to play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins this year if he's traded by the trade deadline? No, I don't anticipate that. But it's like an investment in this case, in this situation. You're done with Tua. You're done with it. So you're moving him. Jacoby Brissett could take you through the rest of the season until your star quarterback is cleared or whatever is worked out to a situation that he can now get back on the field for you. Because the last thing you need is to bring Deshaun into the locker room and have distractions not only in your locker room but also on the outside, where there are going to be groups and people that will be there picketing and all the women rights and all the different things that come with this sort of situation. Right or wrong, public opinion is one thing. And you have to be able to look at that as an organization and also have the right people in place in the organization to give Deshaun the necessary guidance and help that he will need. An organization has been pretty good at doing things like that. The Philadelphia Eagles, they went under Andy Reid. They had to make a calculated decision on whether or not to bring in different situation to a degree, but kind of, the same, where you had an off-the-field issue with Michael Vick. They had to make a calculated decision, Jay, to bring in Michael Vick and make a decision. Hey, can we handle the pressure that's going to be coming from the outside in?
There are a couple of things, Jay, and then number one, Michael Vick had paid his debt, so to speak, right? He had an
didn't matter though,
but the difference here is none of this has been resolved. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, and I would say this. People's past behavior will have an impact on their future opportunities. But I would say it doesn't mean you just throw them away, right? Second chances are important, depending on the severity of what they did. And let's find out all that happened. But that's unresolved. So to me, Jay, the thing that I would look for here in terms of what Miami, how they're forecasting what's going to happen with those issues, is honestly, sounds bad, but like, what are they willing to give up for Deshaun Watson? If it's Tua and a first-round pick, they have reason to believe that Deshaun Watson will be able to play again in the not-too-distant future. If it's Tua and a sixth-round pick or something, then they think, we don't know, but this is worth a lottery ticket from their point of view.
Key, if you're Stephen Ross, you're the owner of the Miami Dolphins, and you do make this move, you make this gamble on Deshaun Watson, you obviously know that's going to, once this trial period starts, accusations start getting out there, people start talking about it more and more, you start hearing from the women individually and their stories. How do you manage that? How would you manage that as an owner for Deshaun Watson and for your team, all the distractions that would come along with that?
Well, first of all, you got to have the right people in place, right? So to start with, I'm spending whatever it's going to cost from an investigation standpoint on my own team of investigators to do their due diligence to bring it back to me and my people so we can look it over and make an educated decision on whether or not we move forward with this. On top of that, now you have to have the right people from a crisis management standpoint in your building that can handle the particular backlash and fallout. And that's what I spoke to a little while ago, is that there's going to be this. And I understand Max is saying that Michael Vick paid his debt to society. And no, it doesn't matter. Does not matter, because people still felt a certain way about what happened with the dogs and how they were treated. And those are just dogs and animals. And they went nuts. These are human beings and women.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different situation. Are you willing as an organization to take on the potential fallout from that? I mean, it's not like all men are your fans and all men are only the ones in the stadium and working for you. You have women that are in the building that are serving and working under your guidance. By
the way, real quick, because we gotta move on, but
we gotta pay some bills.
We gotta pay some bills, Key. You know how that goes.
Please don't use that 1965 radio.
We have to pay some bills here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Back after this. You're right that people still felt a certain kind of way about Vic. My point in making the distinction is simply that there was due process there. He actually did jail time. The whole thing. In this case, nothing has been resolved. That's the distinction I'm making. It is unresolved.
All fair points.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Coming up next, the Cleveland Browns might get burnt without Baker. We'll tell you why tonight's game versus the Broncos is so crucial for them. And he's not playing. That's after Key has this from